And so, because you are that, you are capable, you are gifted, and you are so unique. All of the things that you may hate about yourself are your strengths. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be different. And it's so okay to just be you. The world awaits to receive you.
Blessings, blessings. Let me get myself on the screen. Welcome to Urban Politics. And you're here with your host, Grace Levi. All right. So we're starting a new series. This is episode number 2. I'm working on, I believe that this is going to be the time where we're going to be coming on Thursdays, and we're going to keep our audience up to date of what's going on with our new elected official. Okay. We don't got one, but we have 2 presidents. Okay. So we're going to get into it today. What we're going to be getting into is the dismantling of America's future wealth. Okay. So last week we went into some of the tariffs that Trump has put on our surrounding countries, Canada, Mexico, China, and now we're going to get into Elon Musk having access to everything. We're also going to get into some of the White House, the presidential. We're going to go directly on their website. We're going to read the memorandum that was sent out to the head of the executive department, so you can kind of get the tone, as we already see the tone of what our presidents are putting out. Then we're going to kind of get into this amazing plan that's on the website, a plan for establishing the United States Sovereign Wealth Fund. So some of the things that, or entities that Elon Musk is tapping into will cause and can cause major financial issues to the average American, and we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, I do have a clear clip, and this is not a moment. This should go down in history. What Elon Musk's son said to Trump as Trump tried to disregard it. This is ridiculous. Let's just play this real quick because we got to hear this.
For the average American. I mean, imagine they go down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments drop.
So last week we showed you him telling Trump, "You are not the president. Why are you here?" Basically. And this is what he said. I want y'all to hear it because this is not for a moment. This should be written down in history because I'm not the only one that feels like Elon got a grip on Trump, not in theory, by alleged donation. And we're going to go into that a little bit later. Now, what I want you guys to know that on Thursdays, when we talk about these topics, I'm going to keep them really formal. We're going to hit it. But on Sundays, on the days that I'm able to talk about it, we're going to kind of go down a conspiracy route. Okay, and conspiracy means when people conspire. So whatever topic we talk about, we're going to kind of go down that route. So remember, Sunday, what we're going to be talking about is aviation, what has been going on in the aviation and the planes crashing, as well as we're going to get into a little bit of Elon Musk's technology and what's going on with Tesla. Okay, so that's going to be Sunday. So that's why I just want to give y'all a heads up. The tone is going to be a little different on Sunday, but we're going to definitely keep it factual. So let's play this. We're going to have to put Miss Obama on the screen because I think she wants us. I really do. For this one, I'm going to have to put the sirens on. I know it's a little early, y'all, but we're going to have to give it to her because she gave us a warning about if we get Trump back in the White House, what's going to happen. I had to play that real quick. Let's go.
If Donald Trump is president again, at some point or another, that ugliness will touch all of our lives. And it will not matter what you look like, how you worship, who you love, or how you vote. If you don't make 6 or 8 or 12 figures, if you're not famous, if you criticize or disagree with him in any way, if he doesn't view you as his equal or relevant to his ambitions, I promise you, he will not think about you when he gets into the Oval Office. Let me take a minute to help folks. Believe me, if Donald Trump.
Wait, was that a warning or was that a prophecy? Because he is now in the position where he doesn't care. You know, I honestly, what I do believe slow things down. The first time he was in the White House, for him executing whatever he wanted to in his personal plans, you know, for the big bankers and big tech companies and things like that, it was the Ovid. I honestly do think that slowed it down. But let's put this on the screen where Congress is finally doing its constitutional duties.
They get security clearance. What kind of background checks or transparency into the background of Mr. Musk or the people that are working for him has been done? Do you know, Mr. DeBlanc?
I don't know the background checks. I know President Trump had an electoral mandate to create.
No, I understand that. But he has his electoral mandate to hire cabinet officials, but they have to go through hearings and things like. Mr. Sepp, do you know how these people were vetted?
No.
Mr. Lodwood, do you know how they were vetted?
No.
Ms. Kochelecek, do you know how they were vetted?
We have not looked at these specific individuals.
Ms. Olson, do you know how they were vetted?
No.
What kind of access does Mr. Musk and his team have? What kind of changes have they been making to the computer programs? How many of those changes to computer programs are permanent? And how will that affect people going forward? Mr. LeBlanc, what's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing.
You don't know.
I think
Okay,
he's
Mr.
looking
Sepp, do you
at.
know what he's doing?
No.
Mr. Lodwood, do you know what he's doing?
It would be inappropriate of me for comment.
Ms. Kochelecek, do you know what he's doing?
We have not looked at that.
Ms. Olson?
No.
Does anybody here know what they're doing? Does anybody know what kind of keystrokes changes they're making and they're permanent? Does anybody know what their backgrounds are? Does anybody know what they're doing with the information that they have and how they're using it? I agree with my colleagues who noted before that Mr. Littlejohn, who disclosed this information, is a criminal and deserves to be in jail, and I'm happy that he's been prosecuted. And anybody who has violated 6103, that takes private data and shares it with other people, should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We in Congress have an obligation as an equal branch of government to monitor what's going on right now. We're all for finding cost efficiencies. I know Mr. Bean, for example, has the DOGE committee. That's a great thing for us to look for efficiencies, to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. But there's a pesky thing called the United States Constitution, and it has the responsibilities of the United States Congress in the oversight and power of the purse. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
And that's exactly what I want to hear. Okay, now listen, we already know that Elon Musk don't have any security clearance. And some of the things we were talking about, he got his hand on the Social Security, FBI files, also IRS as well. So many different entities he has dismantled and got his hands on. But we're going to get to this article right here, because this DOGE thing, it seems like a separate entity. This is an entity. This is I don't know, but this is an article we want to share with you. Musk is not an employee of DOGE and has no actual formal authority, White House says. This was February 18th, 2 days ago. So who is actually auditing our government entities, and what are they doing with the information? Okay, billionaire Elon Musk role in the Trump administration is to find ways to cut costs through the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Okay, but a new court filing from the White House states that Tesla CEO isn't an employee of DOGE. I do apologize. And addition, that Musk has no actual or formal authority to make government decisions himself or security clearance. The filing arised questions about Musk's role in Trump administration and DOGE, a cost-cutting task force created by Trump on January 20th. Okay, this is working at a number of agencies, including the Treasury Department, the IRS, in an effort to find fraud and waste. So my thing is, first, if you're trying to find fraud and waste, how do you just start firing people? Okay, the people that knows the system that you're actually auditing and how to get you the information. You're supposed to start with an audit. They went in there just firing people. The White House didn't immediately respond to the request for comments about Musk's role on DOGE. Now, what I was trying to find a clip, but it was in the last interview, one of the interviews that they just did, where Elon Musk basically saying, "I'm just an IT guy." Okay. Let me pull this up because this was Elon Musk. This was another content creator. I think I'm just gonna have to show y'all a little bit where they say Trump cringes as Elon Musk tweaks out in the live interview. So I want to put him on the screen, y'all. This is one of the content creators. I follow a lot of different people. Just I like to listen to different commentary. So this is Adam Mockler, okay? And he has the clip that I want to show you guys. Shout out to his YouTube channel. I'm going to put his information down there. He's much bigger than me. Let's watch it. He's pretty funny. I just, maybe it's because that, once you put something in the algorithm, it kind of come into your feed. So I just kind of started noticing his YouTube page. So I found this interesting. Let's listen.
Provide the president with technology support. And now I'm here to provide the president with technology support. And now that may seem
Trump is not very entertained by that. Look at his face. He's not very entertained by that.
Exclusive interview with the president of the United States, Donald Trump, alongside the left's newest boogeyman, the leader of DOGE, Elon Musk. In less than a month, both President Trump and Elon Musk, they have taken a wrecking ball to the deep state, all while exposing a shocking amount of waste, fraud, abuse, corruption at the.
Let's see if they expose. And
so my thing is, they're saying they're finding all of this, but as we say, we want the receipts, and a lot of the Congress are asking for these receipts, and we're not seeing it, and they're just moving forward, firing people. I'm gonna put the rest of his video down there because he's pretty funny, but I don't want to show all of his video. But he had that clip where Elon Musk basically said he's a tech guy. And they're saying that Trump is not happy because Elon Musk don't dress right. And remember Trump said that he made it official, a dress code in the White House. Okay, official. And this was in his first term. And Elon Musk like, bump you. I'm bringing my son in here. My son about to tell you to shut up. You ain't the president. Elon Musk isn't actually in charge of DOGE. White House says. So let's just play this so we could. People need to be riled up about this. These are things that we really got to pay attention to, because now we have just a regular entity that don't seem to have check and balances and don't have security clearance, that have all of our information. And that is literally what they were mad at TikTok about. Remember, they're trying to get TikTok out, talking about TikTok is going to have all our information, influence the people, things like that. And not only do Elon has the key to everybody's information, but he has a lot of technology, okay? And also who owns X. Not only the technology, okay, we're going to talk about on Sunday, but X. Ooh, y'all, it was a car. If y'all want me to sidetrack, it was a car that drove off of a parking lot roof. It was a Tesla car, and they trying to find out, was it a malfunction or was it the gentleman? So we're going to show you that on Sunday. Weird things are happening as planes are falling out the sky. Now, remember, when I talk to y'all in my commentary, it may seem like sometimes unemotionless. It's just because I don't want you guys to rile you up, but I am going to be sharing some heavy stuff that we need to think about, So I share with the lightest of hearts at sometimes, so I can get the hardest things to you. So just be mindful to listen to some of the stuff and take a picture, write it down, because this presidency, we never, ever saw anything like this. And I'm going to just have to say, in my Hebrew voice, this seemed like they setting themselves for revelations. If y'all read Revelation, Revelation is the weirdest chapter in the book. All types of things flying around. They ain't supposed to be here. I'm getting a sidetrack because he was talking about Stargate, y'all. Sunday we getting into it because this is not conspiracy no more. Now I can just like, ooh, I know about this. Stargate, all types of stuff Trump talking about. We're gonna talk about it on Sunday. Now it ain't conspiracy. So let's watch this. You gotta know, don't be afraid, y'all, because they talking about it. We need to understand what they're talking about, what they're trying to implement. And remember, Trump just signed a bill to give basically this big Stargate and another program like $500 billion. Let's go.
Well, I think we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. But if you remove the roots of the weed, it doesn't stop weeds from ever growing back, but it makes it harder.
This is another thing that I want you guys to be aware of. I may do a little cut. Oh, and I also shout out to Rumble. I am streaming on Rumble today. I am back. Oh, hold on. Sorry, y'all. I had to jump one. I am back on Rumble today. I haven't been on Rumble in a while, so we're gonna see what audience we could pull from there. But yeah, there also been protests around the United States that has not been televised. So I'm gonna make a little clip of that, of a flashback, because they did that before, where everybody was around protesting and it wasn't televised. So let's just watch this real quick.
What do we do?
The sad thing is that they're not even saying, hey, hey, ho, ho, Trump has got to go. Think about it. The Department of Defense is scrutinizing. It says pointing out that the Department of Defense isn't being scrutinized. Oh, so let's kind of talk about that just a little bit, because that's going to go into Sunday topic too, because the Department of Defense deal with the technology. Yeah, when we had the implementation of the inoculation, that was who was rolling it out. A while ago, I did the lawsuit of the gentleman who passed away, and they sued the Department of Defense. Now, I'm not going to sidetrack on that, but I will put that video down there, okay? And he passed away in regards to the inoculation. It's technical, but I did that case, and I need to follow up to see what ended up happening, because he was going against DOD. So they're saying that they're not being scrutinized, but they're dealing with a lot of our medical and technology in our, as you say, our war defense, our war toys.
The Department of Defense, that takes up approximately 50% of our discretionary income, or our discretionary spending. Approximately 50% goes to Department of Defense. Department of Defense has not been able to pass an audit in the last 6 audits, and we're not talking about pennies. When we look at, say, our entire workforce, our federal workforce, as we're trying to somehow fire all of them, they don't even make up a total of 5%. It's even less than that when we look at our budget. But let's talk about defense. That just happens to be the same side of the ledger that Mr. Musk gets the vast majority of his money from.
Call him out. She's doing an amazing job. So you know what we're doing here. We just presenting the facts, and we're going to talk about a little bit, you know, how I have the feelings. But let's go. So they saying that Elon Musk right here has an estimated of dollars. Elon Musk company have an estimated billions of dollars in defense contracts, as per Reuters. Okay, a true figure cannot be determined since many of the contracts are classified. All right. So we're going to share whatever resources that we share here with you. We're going to put the links at the bottom as we did last week. And I want to say hit the like button. Thank you for being here. Please get this segment into the algorithm. We have a lot of factual information this year. You know how we like to put the picture together. So this is what we're going to do. You know, put the picture together. Make sure that we're not seeing bits and pieces, because when we do that, we get segmented information and we don't make totally the correct decisions. I saw that happen during the time of the COVID, and it was really disturbing. So Trump addressed Elon Musk's Social Security access, signed executive orders for IVF, FTC regulations. Let's get this. Let's get it on the screen.
In their first joint interview since President Donald Trump took office, the president and billionaire Elon Musk discussed their wide-sweeping efforts to slash spending and shrink the size of the federal workforce. Jared Hill has your morning update.
I wanted great people, and he's a great person.
On Fox News, President Donald Trump and his senior advisor, Elon Musk, defended their aggressive efforts to slash through the federal government.
All we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president.
He gets it done.
So remember, I want y'all to remember this too. He said in the first interview that he did in the White House when his son wasn't there, he said basically he wants the will of the people to be done. And he's using word magic. He said because the people chose the elected official, you made the choice and you know what that elected official standards are. So now you made your choice. So he's going to keep saying the people, the people's choice, the people's choice. Just keep that on mind. And what they're doing is under the guise of slashing spending. But we know, as we know, these entities that they are hitting are not taking a bulk of the debt that we already have, or the spending that, constitution for our national debt, because we don't have a budget. We just have debt. Okay. My concern is if you gutting it, you're gutting it. You pull a weed up, as he say, the weed's going to grow. You have to fertilize it. You have to fill it in with something else. So they're not talking about any replacements. They're literally talking about doing away with certain institutions that we need as the average Americans, especially Social Security. We have seniors that cannot work. We're going to get into that. Oh, they are slashing a lot of pockets, and it's not the big rich and elites. Okay? It's everybody. So what did you hear Miss Obama say? She said, we're going to play her clip again. I couldn't get to download it, but she said, y'all going to have to just worry about him getting everybody. It's not going to be a color thing. And it's sure not. It doesn't look like it.
He's a leader.
The interview aired hours after a federal judge in D.C. denied a request from 14 Democrat-led states to block Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing data systems and firing workers at 7 government agencies. The judge called DOGE's actions unpredictable.
Remember that hand signal. Go look that up, y'all. Okay? I just got to throw that in there.
Predictable, but added she couldn't restrain the work without clear evidence of imminent, irreparable harm.
What do we want?
Public criticism continues to grow. Tuesday, crowds protested outside the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one of multiple agencies hit by thousands of job cuts. Folks newly hired or promoted hit the hardest. But along the way, DOGE has made errors. Just last night, the Department of Agriculture admitted it's trying to get back workers who were accidentally fired. Veterinarians and animal health technicians working to prevent the spread of bird flu.
One of the biggest functions of the DOGE team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
On that front, Tuesday, President Trump signed executive orders directing his administration to find ways to reduce the cost of in vitro fertilization, and another to
reduce the cost of in vitro fertilization. I know y'all don't, that just went over your head. Hold on, let me write this down. Fertilization. Oh, we're going to talk about this on Sunday because this talks about, it goes directly connected to AI and technology. So he's trying to, Lord, thank God that I'm on. I'm glad. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to Rumble for giving us a platform. We pray that Trump continue to let us have freedom of speech. I just feel like if y'all about to dismantle everything, give everybody the right to speak and have the knowledge so it could be an even playing ground, because they throwing a lot at the people right now. I'm telling you, they throwing a lot at us. And so in vitro fertilization, he's trying to do something to benefit that program. So we're going to ask why. That was just something they threw in there. We're going to move forward.
To find ways to reduce the cost of in vitro fertilization, and another to rein in independent government agencies like the Federal Trade Commission, further extending the power of the White House.
The Federal Trade Commission, he said to reel them in. Now, I understand if these entities, like I said, some of them have not passed audited, things like that, but the Federal Trade Commissions help regulate commerce, and that is built up of a body of people specialists. And let me give you an example. Federal Trade Commission sets regulations for certain industries so it can kind of be an even playing ground, and they have some rules and regulations to follow. Because if they don't, it's just going to be man down. That's why he's saying, we're going to build wealth by dismantling regulations. But when you don't have any rules to follow, then anything goes. And that's not safe, especially when in the how can I say, the system we're in, money talks and BS walks. And that's where anything goes. So we ain't on the right side of where the money flows. You see what's going to happen. Okay. So yeah, this is what I wanted. I want to show you guys, because we talk about him wanting to, create a great environment, save money. Let's kind of see what our second president does in his company and how his workers feel about him. Let's just do a little intermission, because I'm going to save that to the end, but you guys really have to see this, okay? And it seems like he is worse than the owner or the CEO of Amazon, okay? Allegedly. Good, as they say. They complain about. Let's watch this real quick.
What do you got to say? I'm paranoid. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you like this. This is where I'm working, okay? I'll read that. This is where I'm working right now. The man who owns that company, I'll say Elon Tusk. Y'all know Elon Tusk. Find the rhyme, the rhythm. He has us working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. I'm an electrician. I wire up all the machinery that they're using to build the trucks. I'm wiring up all the machinery that they are using to build these robots, okay? We are working 12 hours, 7 days a week. I have worked for TikTok. I have worked for Amazon. I have worked for Samsung. I have worked for Fortune 500 companies all year. Nobody is pushing their people like this, okay? 12-hour shifts. He is trying to complete this for something. I promise you, bro, as soon as these robots go online, it will kill 80% of the job force.
We're going to stop right there, and we're going to revisit that clip on Sunday. Okay. Now, we know people go up there on TikTok and say anything, but then I have other articles in the past, as other videos that we have done, that showed that he was in a race to make certain technologies, definitely against China. Okay. So don't take that as a grain of salt, because as I mentioned, and I think some people who probably have worked at Amazon. Okay. The way our big corporate entities think, it's all about profit. It's profit over person. So it's not about us having the best benefits, having the best work environment. It may be set up to be regulated. You do your orientation and you got to follow this, and we hear you hurt your back and things like that. But it's a profit-driven arena. So remember that we are not going to be the ones that reap the benefit, as what we're seeing that was set up from General Motors. And I keep bringing that up because General Motors years ago, and I watched this amazing documentary about how they actually changed the tone of our business sector to make it more, how can I say, corporate driven, derivative driven, to pay the shareholders over the people. And when he first went at General Motors, he said he like fired. It seemed like Elon Musk is following his book. Okay, we're gonna have to probably watch that on I'm gonna have to bring that up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because what this CEO of General Motors did was actually fired a whole lot of people, took away a lot of their benefits under the guise of waste management, saying that, giving people parking lots, incentive, things like that wasn't helping the business. But at that time, General Motors was making so much money. They were building, a brand, a family. They were in every household. I think it was like in the 60s or 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And soon as that tone changed, not only that, it was a lot of job loss because they were closing factories in the guise of waste prevention and more of investing the profits in other corporations and other EFTs and things like that and technologies. The people suffered. And I'm really, and it's funny, I watched that a couple of weeks ago. I'm watching General Motors. Let me watch. Oh, this is where the tone that came from, where we talk about, it's not people driven. America, I have that perspective that it was built on the backs of Black people, slavery, things like that. But it's a time where it was built on the back of, if you work hard, you can get somewhere, build a business. Businesses was the things that fueled the American economy. But then it started to be smaller compartments of businesses who started to monopolize and buy industries by controlling the flow of things that were coming in, okay, and products and the cost of it, and really bought the little man out. So it was a few different times where our financial system has been hit with these corporate elite tactics. But I just wanted to break that down. Did that kind of like make sense to you guys? I'll be thinking a lot and I'll be like, oh, this is how this played out and how we got here. So right now, it seems like he's doing the same thing. And where General Motors are now, okay? I'm gonna put that documentary under there for you guys, because you're gonna see the ending and how they actually, the people lost. The CEO, he retired with a messed up rep that they kind of try to hide, and billions and trillions of dollars. How about that? Okay, so fire federal workers protest Trump administration cuts as others speak out in support. So I do want to highlight that these protests went on. We gotta give people their credit because they did not get it. So if I could rebroadcast that, we just going to show y'all right now, because they were out there. They was outside, but the news wasn't pushing it like they're pushing all of these other agendas and top stories.
Federal workers took to the streets again today in Chicago to protest the firings of their colleagues by the Trump administration. But another group also spoke out, those in favor of the cutbacks. Charlie Wojciechowski has both sides of the story.
Hey, ho, ho, civil servants will not go. Chanting outside the offices they once occupied, federal workers like Lena Wu say they're heartbroken to lose their jobs at agencies like here at the EPA.
Honestly, it's been one of the hardest months of my life. I got really tired of feeling like I was being hunted for prey.
For the second day in a row, dozens of federal workers gathered on the Federal Plaza with a message for Washington.
We are the people that keep your drinking water safe. We protect the air you breathe and the water you swim in.
Thousands of federal workers have been purged in recent weeks by the Trump administration and the Office of Government Efficiency, supervised by Tesla and SpaceX owner Elon Musk.
SpaceX, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it, y'all. This is a time for Grace Levi. Oh, I know so much. We're gonna put it together. Jesus, SpaceX.
It's been hell the last couple of weeks. Every day we come to work and we're not sure if we're going to be able to come the next day.
But there is another group here in Chicago that says they appreciate the president's actions and want to see him do more.
We need Elon and your whole team. Yes, you know how to pretty much count the money down to the penny. We want that. We need that. We need it now.
I'm scared, ma'am. I'm scared. Please do your research. I'm nervous. My baby was screaming on top of her lungs, and she don't realize that. Again, I'm going to state this. People out in Chicago losing their job, people out here in Georgia, the CDC, these positions, the FBI have been given notice, people in the IRS has been given notice, people at the Federal Board of Education has been given notice. These are people who specialize in things. These are people who went to school to specialize in their particular specialty, and they know the ins and outs of it. And they're suffering right now. Okay? They're being just cut at the throat. Imagine the people who don't have specialties. Okay? Because this is going to be a trickle-down effect. Please understand. When the tariffs hit and the prices start to fluctuate and go up for certain items, the owners are going to increase their prices. The owners of these organizations, the how you say, ShopRite, Pathmark, Target, they're going to, and it's going to trickle on us. Also, they're going to find other ways to cut back. So that's why I'm like, she's scaring me because she don't realize that, okay, you ain't these people right now that's losing their job. But when they got to cut back on wherever you work at, they're going to cut back on jobs as well for the average person. And we already have our president number 2 saying, hey, 80% of the jobs is going to be taken over by AI. Don't worry about it. The universal fund is don't worry about it. This is not far-fetched. So when we talk about this topic, we got to talk about it in its totality, like the bigger picture. Things are a little weird. Now, memorandum for the heads of the executive department of agencies. Now, this is on the whitehouse.gov website. So these are some of the things that I want to show you. And this is the tone and what they're talking about with this. Okay. Advising the United States interests when funding non-government organization. Now, I need you guys to understand these non-government organizations because I had to learn about them too. And I was very skeptical as well when I had that, because I'm a renegade, but I got common sense. So when I was like, oh, you're not even a government agency and you're taxing me, you're trying to regulate me. What happened is when the United States was established and all of the states got together and they signed a constitution, and what we needed was check and balance systems for a federal level and state level when it comes to certain entities. So it couldn't be just a government who had the total job and or the right to create that, because that would instead create a dictatorship. So it left it in the hands of the average person and also government entities to come together to create organizations such as, you got to understand, the clerk office. That's a government entity, but you're going to see how they were established. You're going to see who owns the land, things like that. It's a separation of powers. Does that make sense? So when I first look at non-government agencies, you're like, yeah, you just giving anybody money. But some of these entities that you consider non-government agents like OSHA, the Department of Education, they're there for check and balance systems and to incorporate the average American into these positions to help regulate and create the normality of these systems based on their knowledge and specialty, because those entities are directly responsible to hire people who are competent. Now, when it comes to the federal laws and the state laws they have to follow when they're creating their entities, that is what is supposed to govern what is supposed to happen and not happen, but the details of programs comes from the average person. Now, what's happening to me in the Trump administration is that not only is they giving like, this is the tone, this is what's going to happen, but you're going to do this, which is eliminating us as the average American who play these roles in these government agency and non-government agency to create the normality that we need and the funding and the programs that we need, because we're living inside of the areas that need it. Does that make sense? I know I went a little deep, but when I see non-government organization, I'm like, they trying to trick us up. So the United States government has provided significant taxpayers' dollars to non-government organizations, which I explained to you some of the examples of it, many of which are engaging in actions that are actively undermining the security, prosperity, and safety of American people. You know, I'm going to have to give it a little characteristics. It is the policy of my administration to stop funding NGOs. Got to give it a name, little acronyms. No NGOs. We work at the NGOs. Yeah, okay. That undermines the national interest. This is very short. Damn, I thought I was about to be reading a lot, y'all. I therefore direct the heads of the executive department of the agency to review all funding that agencies provide to NGO. The heads of the agency shall align further funding decisions with the interests of the United States and with the goals of the priorities of my administration. Sorry, I had to say that loud because it needs to say and the goals of the people. But I'm going to finish read that sentence. The heads of the agency shall align further future funding decisions with the interests of the United States and with the goals and priorities of my administration, as expressed in the executive actions and otherwise determined in the judgments of the heads of the agency, and on a basis of applicable authorizing statute regulations and terms. Now, they didn't say applicable constitution. They didn't say, for the people. But yeah, you're going to align with, like the agency heads are going to align with my administration's priorities. I just wanted to put that up there, quote unquote, directly on the White House website. We'll put that link at the bottom. They said it, not me. So Jasmine Crockett, I was about to say Crockett calls out Marjorie Taylor Greene, Elon Musk during DOGE subcommittee hearing. So we're going to play that, and then we're just going to get into where is it? Is this it? Hold on one second. It's an article I wanted to share with y'all, so we could just list all of the places that Elon Musk and them actually touched. Hold on. Let's put this on the screen. Let's put our beautiful Jasmine up there fighting for the people, right? She seemed the one that got the most common sense and no law. I'm just saying, maybe it's because she keep coming on my feeds, but we need our congressional members to have common sense and no constitution, because all roads leads to the Supreme Court with all of these actions that Trump is doing. And trumping our presidents, Trump and Elon. People are protesting, hey, ho, ho, Elon has to go. Okay? Trump is allegedly selling his soul and looking weak while he do it. I'm just being honest. It's sad. The little boy said, shut up to Trump. And Trump like this. Y'all sorry? Is it the truth? He said, shut up. You're not the president.
Texas, Ms. Crockett, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Talcove, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up where you left off really quickly. Just to be clear, the upgrades that you're talking about as it relates to our data processes, these aren't things that would be free, are they? They would cost some kind of money. Not looking for a number, but they will cost, correct?
Some are free and some would cost money.
Okay. All right. So I just want to leave it there because we've had a number of these hearings. So I do want to be clear, before the Trump administration came in, this committee did exist in the form of the Oversight Committee, and our task is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. In that vein, we had a number of hearings, at least last term. I can't speak for any other term as I'm only in my sophomore term. And we dealt with improper payments. And interestingly enough, our chairwoman, who is so passionate about this today, she missed every single one of those improper payment hearings. But just to be clear, I was there. So I don't want anyone to believe that Democrats just come to work and don't plan to do work. In fact, I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that the Republicans believe our job is, because right now they have relinquished their constitutional duties over to an unelected bureaucrat, someone who no one went out to vote for. And absolutely, he is occupying the Oval Office, as we saw yesterday. And that is a first for me to see.
We're going to stop right there. We're going to put her clip at the bottom because she always, hold on, let Miss Jasmine talk, because I got the article where we're just going to make sure that we know all of the entities that Elon Trump, our president, is dismantling. And we're going to kind of talk about a little bit how it affects us, okay?
See someone occupying the Oval Office who's never actually been elected to the Oval Office and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected. But for whatever reason, this is the first time we're having a DOGE subcommittee hearing, and that guy's not here. Instead, we have y'all. So I do want to thank you for coming. But I will say this, it's also interesting to me that in the first few days of DOGE existing, we know that they are trying to get rid of the Department of Education, USAID, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're laying off FAA workers. They are going after the FDA, the CDC, the HHS, the FBI agents, and they're talking about getting rid of FEMA. And they brought y'all in, and I am going.
Do you know? Listen to all of the entities that she has named. Now let's get into it. Okay, we're going to save this clip because Miss Jasmine is hitting it. She's being our superhero with her words, okay? Let's get to this article real quick. Some of the entities that they're hitting and how it affects us. Because I can't believe people are yelling from the top. Yeah, do this. Yo, this is trickling to us. Everybody. We up Shit's Creek. Elon DOGE has worked quickly to cut federal agencies. Here is the list of what's been targeted so far. So this was 7 days ago. So that NASA appears to be the next in line. Now, I think, in my opinion, he may going to try to take over NASA, but we're going to figure this out a little bit later. Okay, while at the Commerce Space Conference in Washington, D.C. on February 12th, the space agent acting administrator said that NASA was expecting a visit from DOGE. They're going to try to take over that right there. You know, Elon want to go back to space and go back to his people. Shut up, y'all. Look at him. I'm trying to tell you, the guy look weird. Look a little weird here. He trying to get back to his people. Mama business. So, yeah. So that threw me off too. So we are a federal agency. We're going to have DOGE come. They are going to look similarly to what they've done at other agencies. At our payments, said Janet Petro in comments. Just payments? Okay. The Department of Education. Trump has repeatedly said that he wants to shut down the Department of Education. On February 12th, he's told reporters that he wanted the Department of Education closed immediately, adding that it is a big con job. So what is the replacement? Now, y'all do remember when I talked about this before we went into Trump website, his campaign website, he was talking about having this type of online platform that sound like YouTube that had, or Udemy, Udemy, y'all ever heard of that, where you could go up there, it's like e-learning, you can learn about different subjects. And from there, you'll be able to get your certificates, college diploma. And it's supposed to have been like, I don't know if it was Trump University, but I don't know what's his replacement to shut down the Department of Education. Let's just highlight this. Each state, which is encompass the county, the community, they all receive some type of funding and taxes from us as well. They also, each one have their own way of generating money. Let's say ticket and towing, like the police, fines like, you know, the company, the water company that come maintain our sewage or whatever, you know, like the housing authority. Let me just say that. So they have ways that they generate money. We also pay them. And what end up happening is, if we shut these entities down on the federal level, there's monies that went to the federal level. Okay. We pay the feds. We have a treaty, each state, even though we independent, because what you saw with the OVID, some states stayed open, some states stayed closed. He kind of threw it out there like, you got the right to do that. I'm gonna defund this, but you don't have the constitutional right, I would say, and that's why everything leads to Supreme Court, to stop funding to states that you already have a treaty with, agreement with, because of political thing. That's why Trump administration got sued a lot. They did, okay? But when it came to the OVID, a lot of entities wasn't strong in that position because that was an experimental thing. But with that goes to say, they have an obligation to keep the entity open on a federal level, because it's all about the check and balance system. It's also about us as the taxpayer. We paid your ass. You got our tax, but you get federal money too. We don't just pay state, county tax. We pay federal tax, don't you? I got to pay the feds $3,500 this year, okay? Because I'm an independent person. We pay them. I'm paying them off of the money that I made, and I homeschooled. This entity is needed. Not only, keep in mind, each state has a different bracket of income. We have different industries, agriculture, things that happen that fluctuate, what monies is made, what things can be shipped out. So it's a cap. Some states are bigger in size, bigger in population. Some counties are. So nothing will never be even when it comes to each state, and we're connected. So that's going to cause a disparity, and that's where the feds come in to give equal funding to each state to help them out, so we can all kind of be on the same page, especially with education, because when we move as a nation, as Americans, and we compare our education level to other nations, we fall very short. So instead of taking money away from the Department of Education, if it did need to be an audit, it needed to be an audit on the regulation of the education department requirements. What do we need substantially in the United States to generate money? What type of industries do we need to create through our people educating them? So the Department of Education would make sense to be revamped to say, you have to have an agriculture program in your school. You have to have an engineering program, computer tech within the vicinity of the area to receive funding. You see what I'm saying? Re-regulation of the Department of Education will make sense to me. But this doesn't make sense because the economic factors, the treaties, and our damn tax money. And already how our education system is lax. And AI is dismantling that more and more because it's making it so easy for us. I had to make sure that my kids wasn't getting term papers made on AI. And when they was in high school, we didn't have the opportunity to do that. When I was in high school, we had to write our stuff. We just was finished typing, got into Microsoft little computers. Yeah. So we had to use our brain a little bit more. So we had so many factors that is like, ooh, I could go down a deep rabbit hole about that. DEI incentives. Black people. It is not just Black people. On January 31st, just 11 days into existence, DOGE announced that it is terminating 104 government contracts related to DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, inclusion, equity, diversity. This is not just with us, and I'm gonna have to say some harsh things. Real, you got to understand that what you heard Miss Obama talking about, the division between the rich and the poor. This is something that was real. This was something that took place, especially around 1934. When the Gold Confiscation Act happened, we went through the first Great Depression, things like that. The money exchange between the rich and the poor was greatly divided, and us as the American people had to get back up. So these diversity and inclusions were set to help the people not only that had disabilities or let's say shortcomings from a perspective of society like Black people, but it was to make sure that it was an equal playing ground to get a diverse and eclectic mindset as well into particular industries. Example, agriculture. You wouldn't just have agriculture programs all in the city, which they do. Agriculture programs where, let's say, they teach them about farming, things like that, or whatever. They have these things. They don't like, no, let me say that. I'm not going to say agriculture. Let's say engineering. X that. Engineering. You got all engineering courses in the city, and you have people that's in the rural area that need things built, that knows their area, that knows the shortcoming, but they don't have the means to generate money because, the rural areas don't make as much money as the people in the city. And they don't have the form of transportation or things like that. They're in a situation just like poor Black people. That's why I be cool as hell with my white mountain people or my white people that's from the bushes or my white people from Florida because they know what it is. So they create DEI incentive program to say, hey, okay, cool. You in a rural area, we're going to allocate a certain amount to make sure that people from this rural area that need to come and get this education, I'm just using education in engineering as an example, to help bring back to their community, to help build their community up. So we're going to provide transportation for them to get down here, maybe hotel staying while they're in school or something like that, or computer technology at their home, internet. That is where the DEI incentive program spending goes. I can't say that there's not waste and fraud going on and blah, blah, blah. But that's the idea of it, to expand, our services to other areas by educating people as well in that particular. And I'm going to give you an example. Where I go to take care of my baby patient, there ain't no nurses up there. There's no nurses. I drive massive hours to go take care of my baby patient. And it's sad because if they had DEI incentive programs that got these people to get in, like, younger crowd in the school, get them to take nursing or technical things like that, they will bring that to that area or give them the means. But that is through diversity and inclusion. Does that make sense, y'all? Does that make sense? So I know people, we got right, left, Trump, Democrats. I'm not either or. I'm looking at it from us people. How the hell are we going to survive this politics? Because that's just them against each other. But we do have some in there with hearts. Like Jasmine, I'm gonna give it to her, you know, and there's a few other ones that I like. Y'all gonna get to know people who I kind of was watching, but I be watching because they be saying this today, that tomorrow. So I don't really co-sign nobody. U.S. Agency for International Development. So this is Musk has been working to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development, which funds humanitarian efforts around the world. As the world's largest provider for humanitarian aid, the U.S. channeled nearly $32.5 billion through the agencies in 2024, providing aid to countries like Ukraine, Jordan, Ethiopia. So in the post on February 3rd, Musk is accused of the agency of being a criminal organization and said he spent the weekend feeding USAID into the wood chipper. Yeah. All right. Workers were told to stay home from work, and within days, the agency announced that all the direct hire personnel would be placed on leave globally, with a few exceptions. A move that would have reduced its workforce from 10,000 employees to less than 300. Now, what I will say, and we're going to say that from both sides, okay? I do feel like there is some fraud and waste and spending when it comes to international development, when they're giving these subcontracts and funding these programs in other countries. It's not greatly regulated. But I will say when it comes to funding health forward programs that will kind of, let's say, because I don't want to say that it's good for us to keep going to people back door and we get something from them, they get something from us. But especially when it comes to health funded programs and dealing with the World Health Organization, I gotta shut up. I gotta clear my throat on that. There is some benefits to deal with them because not only do we mitigate risk factors and find out emerging diseases and emerging issues and be able to kind of combat it over there or somewhere else, and we get to get resources to help with these emerging diseases. We don't have everything over here, as we talked about with the trade war. We in deep doo-doo with that because we don't make everything over here. So we don't make all of the things we need to make medicines and things like that. So some of the partnerships that fall under this is under protecting us, is under the guise of how can I say, creating resources for areas that don't have the resources. There are some that don't. But if we could deal with them on a humane level where we're not trying to control their government and steal their resources and make them owe us, that's a whole nother story. This agency, I would say, is definitely needed, but it does need to be greatly revamped. So I kind of said it in both aspects because I have seen the waste, fraud, and fraud that come from this directly, international development, and I would assume what happened with Haiti and the earthquake fell under that. And I know by living through it, having family out there, that they did bad with the money. And what they brung out there, guess what they brung out there, y'all? Cell phones, the internet, phone cards, dun, 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 dun. And we also have a resource out in Haiti that AI experts need. And it's like titanium or something like that. Okay, we got a Wakanda type of element out in Haiti, and there's a few type of elements out in different places where they go under the guise of internationally helping people and kind of get to that. So I understand, but baby, you don't go in there and just fire everybody. You need to do a real investigation. How do you send tech gurus in on an investigation? Okay. Now let's move forward. Federal aviation. This is something where we just going to save federal aviation. We're going to save this for Sunday because y'all have been seeing the planes falling out the sky. There was something that I talked about months ago because I'm such a geek. Thank you, Jesus. They were having issues. Do you remember Boeing? Boeing was having issues because their planes was crashing. Boeing planes was crashing because they were trying to implement this new AI technology to compete with other companies. And this new technology, which will help price their machinery better, was a landing feature, an automatic safety landing feature. This automatic safety landing feature was allegedly being called to question by a few of Boeing's workers. I did videos on this, and that's why I'm back on Rumble. We're gonna be connecting Big Chew to this particular episode because I need you to go down the rabbit hole. The guy, just before he testified against Boeing, was murdered and found unalive. Boeing planes were falling out the sky, allegedly connected to the technology default. And I'm going to just shut up right there and save it for Sunday. Hit the like button if you like my commentary and my expansive mind. I'm going to share it all with you guys. If I got the platform, I'm going to make you think. Treasury Department. And this is Federal Emergency Management Agency, National Oceanic and Atmosphere. We're going to have to get down on this. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, this is one thing that I'm definitely pissed off at because this is what's going to hit us as well. This is part of the check and balance system. I always talk about the Consumer Protection Bureau. If something happens, you need to call them if it's between you and a big company, warranty company, insurance company, them and the attorney general is supposed to people that you're supposed to go make complaints to about these entities. But what Consumer Protection Bureau do is have specialists that will help you not only navigate the issue and try to come to a mitigation with the entity, probably get your money back. But if it's any legal issues that is there, they will recommend it to the right entity, including attorney general, that will help us with issues. We don't have that. I have used consumer protection to help me look into insurance issues where they wouldn't lower my liability, my home insurance, because they told me that I needed a certain amount of dwelling or rebuilding premium, and it was a lie. And I will go back and forth with them like, no, I don't need $300,000 in rebuilding, and my house is worth this. This is not right. And I'm showing them, and they argue with me. And I took them to Consumer Protection Bureau and fixed it. Okay, this is part of protecting us as Americans, because they would have kept arguing with me, knowing that it probably would have been harder for me to take them to court. But this is why Obama set up and fund the Consumer Protection Bureau through the Dodd-Frank Act after the housing crisis in 2008 to stop predatory lending, predatory contracts, and things like that. Did we break down the consumer protection? I love the consumer. If I can make a heart and the AI make the heart for me, I love Consumer Protection Bureau. And that is, again, taken away from the foundations of our wealth, because we will have people who can con us, who can put predatory contracts on us, and we'd be binded because we can't sue them. Or if we do get in litigation without these type of government funded bureaus that we already pay the feds, our taxes, we will have to be liable for the lawsuits that we bring forward. And that's usually what they do. They play us into the court game where you have 3, 4, 5 years of court. And even if you have a lawyer that collect on the back end, either from that settlement, you're not going to get much, or it's so much lawyer fees that it becomes gross. It becomes gross and the person can't handle it. So that's my take on the importance of the Consumer Protection Bureau. We're going to go back to the Oceanic Atmosphere Administration. Y'all won't understand, but that has to do with SpaceX, dog. Yep. Don't look at me. I say it as a nurse with no emotion, but when I go like this, y'all better start thinking. That's my nervousness. Moving forward, Stargate. Remember that. Stargate will have to do with the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration as well. Now, we're going to basically kind of close off today because like I said, we want to get these broadcasts down to 32 minutes. Never think that I'm going to get it. Possibly. We're definitely not doing an hour and a half. I hope I broke down a lot of information for you guys. We're going to be doing this weekly on Thursdays, midday. And y'all going to see on Sundays that I follow up either with a video that kind of puts something together, maybe be a little conspiracy. Now, remember that word conspiracy is not fake, don't exist, but it's an idea of one group trying to conspire against the other group. It does not mean that it's totally the truth until proving the truth. But when it makes sense and you see things unraveling in front of you, like, wait, that's when that term comes to life. And we need to take off that shadow off that term so we can realize that they are conspiring against us. So we're going to follow up on Sunday. We're going to go into what's happening in aviation. And also maybe next week we're going to get more into this waste and fraud abuse, allegedly, that our two presidents are calling because they're shutting shit down. And everybody is suffering. This is can I put these last few clips on just one more time? We're going to put Miss Obama on the screen. We're not going to put this aviation. I got an aviation clip, y'all. We're not going to put that up there yet. We're not going to. I'm going to save that for Sunday. I got another one that I want to show y'all, but I'm going to save it for Sunday, okay? This is what I'm going to show y'all. One of my other favorite lawyers that I like. Let's put this for the last clip. I like him. Lawyer for Workers. I have shown different clips. He always keep his commentary diverse. He was keeping tabs on the YSL trial, all types of stuff, as well as current events. And he's on task. He's like, we probably got a lot in common. We be thinking outside the box. This is what Elon Musk said.
Here for a second. I'm talking to all of you because we, the proverbial we, that guy over there, this idiot over here, we are the dumbest collection of humans to have ever walked the earth at one given time. We have seen all of the Terminators, all of the Matrix movies. We got the box DVD somewhere in our basement. And yet and still, we have allowed this man to build the most powerful AI in the world. We have allowed this man to go through every aspect of the federal government. He has the keys to the freaking Cadillac, and now he's got the AI. Have y'all seen the movies? Do you understand that a couple of years ago, before he had all this power, he realized that, hey, we need to have a rule that says that AI is only for nonprofit purposes and the betterment of humanity, because if you make it for profit, this world is going to get grim, dark, blackness. It's going to be the Gaza Strip all over the place because men are not responsible on their own. You cannot leave them to themselves. Left alone with the most powerful AI in the world and access to the entire federal government, it is fading to black, bro. Come in here for a second. I'm talking to all.
You are gifted and you are so unique. All of the things that you may hate about yourself are your strengths. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be different. And it's so okay to just be.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra